Gardening friends, we're going live today to talk about autumn planting in the patch, and Keith Edwards is coming on to answer all our questions. I'm just going to try and invite him, so hang in there. Hi everyone jumping in. I'm just trying to get Keith on. Review, go live. Just waiting. Try again. Oh,
G'day.
hello, how are you?
I'm well, darling, and you?
Oh, very well, very well. It's a bit of
Good.
a windy, hot, sticky day today here in Perth.
Yeah.
How's things in Victoria?
Well, we had a hot one yesterday. It was about 36 yesterday, but it's about 25 today. So we've already had two walks with the dog this morning, so it's been beautiful.
Did you say two?
Yeah, we had one. We get up with Leslie and we go for a fairly long walk in the morning and then come back and have breakfast and have a shower, and then I take her out again.
Oh, good on you. Look at you go, being a
It's
good
great.
pet parent. Oh, so nice to have you back on. I can't
Yeah,
even
lovely to see
remember
you again, darling.
when we did this last. Maybe last year. I
It
can't
was.
even remember. It's been school holidays and
Yep.
it's just been like a whirlwind of a couple of months. So
Yep.
we're getting back into the patch and starting to focus on planting again. So
Yeah, and
oh,
I was just going to say, your garden looks fabulous, darling. It looks
oh
fantastic.
well, it's all with your help. It's all with your help. You've rescued me numerous times. So
No,
thank you so much for
that's
jumping
a
on and
pleasure.
helping us us rookies out. And
Hmm.
yeah, we're getting into autumn.
Yes, great time of the year. You know, we still get some lovely warm days, but then nice cool nights, which is
Oh,
just fabulous for the
oh
garden. Really
yeah,
is.
just like, and to be out during the day without dripping in sweat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've got like 1,000 questions, but
Oh,
everyone,
goodness.
I know, I know. Well, I just keep thinking back, like Joe Day One. Like,
Hmm.
we've got lots of people that are just receiving their garden beds and have no idea what to do next. We've got people that are, had a year or a couple playing around with it, but just looking to enhance and improve. And then we've got some gurus on here that, always pick up a tip or two. So I'm
Yep.
hoping to speak like that everyone like kind of walks away feeling confident.
Well, they can always send us in questions if they've got any
Yes.
concerns, and we're very, very happy to help them out and get them straight on the straight and narrow path to very successful gardening.
Yes, and Muddy Boots. Go to Muddy Boots. You just released an autumn one a couple weeks ago that had
Yep.
great tips as well. So Muddy Boots, and obviously you're a landscape designer, but
Hmm.
like your passion is veggies and
Yes.
growing. Well, a big
And
passion,
edible gardens. I love
edible
edible
gardens.
gardens. Yep,
Yes.
absolutely
So
love them.
I'd love to focus on that today.
Yep.
So right, autumn. So as
Hmm.
things are cooling down, I
Yep.
guess like what are we going to be start doing now? Some people will be filling their garden beds for the first time. Some people have got summer crops still going.
Hmm.
Some have empty spaces. So there's going to be like people in different circumstances. So what can we be doing now, regardless if you've got veggies growing or not?
Yep.
Um, yeah, like replenishing and like seeds that we can be starting to do. What should we be focusing on now?
Well, if you have a look at the moon calendar, 2 days' time, 2 days' time is the high growth period.
Beautiful. So if people are ready to go and they got spare patch and their gardens are being replenished, they can get planting in 2 days.
Yes, yeah, and look, if people still aren't confident about growing from seed, and I don't understand that because it's such a wonderful, rewarding thing to be able to do. But if people are still a little bit hesitant about that, take small steps. Go and get some seedlings.
Yeah.
Go and buy a pack. Go and buy a tray of seedlings that you'll get from your local nursery or Bunnings or wherever else, Mitre 10, and start off with those. The things
And
that
is
you
it
have.
not going to be like too hot? We're still in high temperatures in rural New
Yeah.
South Wales. Can it kill the plants putting in seedlings now?
No, and this all gets back to
what
you're putting them into.
Yeah.
And that is, if you've got a beautiful, well composted soil, then those plants aren't going to suffer in those beds. As long as they're getting a water in the morning and a water in the evening, that's generally enough to ensure that those plants will survive and just go gangbusters.
Yeah.
What you've got to be aware of is still that stinking rotten white butterfly that's around, and getting into your brassicas, into your any brassicas that you might be growing, such as cabbages, collies, kale, spinach, all those sorts of things. Make sure you've got them netted with a 2 mil micron net. Just cover them up.
Beautiful. So if you've got a spare bed and it's been all set, ready to go, you can get some seedlings. Make sure that they are in the right seasonal period, because sometimes they're still selling tomatoes. Like, make sure you look at your seasonal planting, because we also have things that will catch beginners. Like I bought things in like too early just because they were available. So just double check that they're actually in the seasonal planting guide for your area.
Yeah, exactly. And every area is going to vary a fair amount. I mean, where you are and where some of my other clients are, it's a totally different package. But generally, if you've got really, really good composted soils, you generally set yourself up for success anyway.
Yes.
Growing brassicas at this time of the year.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions that I need to ask before I lose them. Is one, okay, so people that do want to plant seeds, what should they do? And the other one is, if people only have a couple of garden beds and they've still got summer crops growing, can they put in autumn, winter veggies in the same bed if they replenish certain parts of the bed?
Yeah.
Because some people don't have the option of waiting for all the summer, it's going to be crossing over.
I guess my answer to that would be start sowing from seed.
Yeah.
So you work out what you want to grow and what you want to eat during the winter months, because it's not that far off.
Yeah.
And start sowing seeds now. And if you do them in the little paper pots and just nurture them, keep them going all the way through, they're going to be absolutely fine. So here's
the paper pot tool. I come prepared. I've got everything you're going to talk about. I've nearly got.
Good.
So go to Keith's post about making paper pots, and I've done one as well. But you're just using newspaper, and that's your paper pot tool.
Yes.
Rather than having to get all your little plastic pots, you can just make your own, and then they can go straight into the ground when they're ready, when they've got their true leaves.
Yep, when they got their true leaves. Yeah, and that's the thing, darling. If people sow from seeds now, those plants are going to be ready to go into the ground in probably about a month's time. They'll have a decent root system happening, and they'll have all their true leaves up and going, and they'll be fine to plant. At the end of March for sure.
Yes. Okay. And
then they've got that grow in stage where they can really take off in good quality soil. And that's another thing. If people have got some spare bits in their bed, make sure that you've loaded it up with compost and monash rock dust, and all the other goodies, the bearer soil. Make sure you mix all that together. Yep.
Monash rock dust, that's your minerals.
That's the best.
I've only got a teeny tiny bag of your Vera soil worm castings, because that's all you can get in Forbes. So I've got to do a trip over to a bigger town to get the big bags.
Yep.
And compost. So you're doing those 3 things to replenish your compost.
Yep.
Your
rock dust, Vera soil.
And what about manures?
No, there is absolutely no reason to put manures in. No reasons whatsoever.
Yeah. So what about people on farms that tend to use like their sheep manure and cow manure when they might have loam, like just a loamy base, and they're having to make up their own concoction? Well,
then that needs to be turned into compost before they put it into those beds, because generally manures, and we think about manures like Blood and Bone and Rooster Booster or Dynamic Lifter. They're not really available to the plants for 2 to 3 months. So there's nothing much happening there. But if you've got well composted manures, like really, really well composted, all those things are ready to go bang into the soil, and they're available for the plants.
And I heard you talk about on your last podcast, someone was using tuna and you said you can tell that it's been well composted because it won't have the smell. Like
That's right.
it's
It will smell
broken
like the
down
forest
so
floor.
much. Yes. Perfect. So I think I've over replenished
Mm-hmm.
my last before my summer crop, because I started getting yellowing. The plants weren't, like, I could tell from the plants that
Yep.
they were yellowing, not strong. They were leggy. So you
Yep.
can over
Yes,
replenish.
you can. You can. And that's where one of the best things you can do is add your Monash rock dust and then populate that with go-go juice. All right, which I'm sure you've got there. Good girl. Yep, brilliant. So the go-go juice, the microbes will feed off the Monash rock dust and the available compost in there, and that go-go juice will absolutely populate that soil. So it'll just make it like rocket fuel, I guess.
Yes, and you've suggested to me I go get some clean sand, clean
Yes.
soil, which is clean washed sand, just to try and get some earth back into it, so it's just not all compost.
And that's the problem. If you've got too much compost in the soil, then sometimes you're not having that structure, and that's where
Yes.
the earthworms and all these sorts of things, or the compost worms, can actually help you out. But if you use a wash sand, and never ever use a topsoil, never ever, because there's going to be a million weed seeds in that topsoil that'll just drive you nuts. But a wash soil is just the mineral matter that's going to help
Yes.
open up that soil.
Yes, because these veggie beds have been in here for going on 2 years, not yet 2 years, but I've kept replenishing before every crop, but I've never added like sand in with that to keep the structure
Yeah.
going.
Yep.
So, and also you said to use populate, because like it might help the soil
The
health as
populate's
well.
great.
If you're looking,
Yeah.
like, if plants don't look healthy, like,
Yep.
to give it a real boost.
Hmm. And the other thing too, which is a real go for, that's it. That is a great product. It's absolutely brilliant.
Would you
You know,
use that? Sorry, why I think of it. Sorry to cut you off. Would you use that as well before replenishing, just to give the bed a real, I don't know,
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
medicine for the next crop in case there was disease or
Any
something in the
nasties in
soil?
the soil, that's
Yes.
going to knock them on the head.
Yes. So I'm going to do that as well.
Yep. Now, generally, when plants are showing yellowing of leaves, it's generally an indication that there's either not enough food there for them, or the pH is not correct. So
Yes.
where's your pH test? There we go, Manutech. and,
There
and
we
and
go.
they are a fabulous kit. I had a Barney with a garden supplies once, and I said that the soil pH that they sent me, or this organic matter, was way out. So that they came back to me and said, "Oh, well, you're not testing it with the way we get it tested, which
Yeah.
is in the laboratory, which is just absolute crap." That whole product that you've just shown us there, that was devised by the CSIRO,
Yeah, I heard that on your podcast
the
last
barium
night.
and all the
Yeah.
rest of it. So it is as good and as accurate as it's going to get. It's brilliant.
Don't get the probe, because I've got the probe and said, don't get the probe, go get the other
No,
kit. So
don't
my
bother
beds
with the
are
pro.
reading at 7.5, but my blueberry actually, and I'm actually going off topic here. I had it lower, but it's gone up to 7. So the blueberry plant's not happy. So even if you've checked it, recheck like every 6 months or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And then also, keep the rock dust up to it. That's also going to show. And if you can get hold of pine needles for your blueberries, that's brilliant, because it's got an acidification within it that will help to lower that pH down to the right area for your blueberries. But other
Yes,
than
Jackie
that,
from Bunnings is going to get me a couple of bags. She said she can get me some.
oh, that's good. Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so basically, from my understanding, autumn is fantastic to be doing your planting, because it's
Brilliant.
got the warmth of the soil to get the seeds germinating,
Yep.
to get the plants established, nice and strong, ready to make it through winter.
That's it.
And then that's right. And then we're maintaining winter. We're protecting from pests, frost cover
Yep.
if needed, and basically they're going to grow through winter, and we'll be harvesting some things late winter, early spring, from my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all your brassicas you're going to be harvesting in May, June, July,
Yeah.
even into August. And the beauty about putting the brassicas in that time is you don't need to cover them because that white butterfly has gone dormant. He's not around anymore. So
Yes.
that's why you always plant your brassicas in the cooler months, even though you'd like to have them. But if you do, you're going to have to make sure you cover them to keep that stinking rotten mongrel away. That's all.
Yes. So when we talk about like the seeds, so people have got their seeds ready. What are
Mm-hmm.
the ones that we're going to direct sow, and what ones do we need to do in pots?
Yeah, okay. So if people pick up the packet and have a look on it, it will tell them straight away that how they've got to go about doing it. It will say either sow in punnets or direct sow. So for instance, peas, you could put peas in, and they're going to be the sorts of things that will grow direct into the soil. Broad beans are another one that you could do during this particular period.
Snow
Um,
peas? Is it too early for snow peas?
No, snow peas can. Well, at the moment, yes. Probably the end of autumn would be the best time to put your snow peas in.
What are the other veggies we should be waiting a little bit longer for?
Well, none really.
Yeah.
You can put an enormous amount of things in. There's so many things. I mean, onions are another great one that you can be planting. And let's go back to the direct sowing. If anyone goes to a supermarket or the Bunnings or a nursery or whatever else and buys things like carrots in punnets, they've got rocks in their head. You never ever purchase carrots or parsnips or these sorts of things. Anything that's got a root, beetroot. You never
Oh, my
ever buy. Yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
I'm
You
I'm
always.
having a whole bed just for beetroot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, Leslie loves beetroot as well. I'm not so fast, but never mind.
Roasted, even on its
Oh yeah,
own.
yeah,
Oh, it's like it's a patch treat. It's so good.
yeah. It is
Um,
beautiful.
so, and if people have got questions, pop them in as we're going through it.
Yep.
Um, let me see. I've got pages and pages and pages here.
Oh my God.
I know. Yeah, so going back to the compost, we need to be really careful not to put crappy compost in. So if you're down in
Exactly.
Victoria, Clyde Compost, or he's got outlets everywhere. Rocky Point,
Yep.
they're great. It's got compost and soil and certified organic in that one.
Brilliant.
Yep.
I think the thing that people need to look out for with compost is not buying something or have a look on the bag and make sure it says no green waste.
Yeah.
No green waste, because if they've mixed green waste that people are putting in their recycling bins or that their green bins, that's going straight to these mongrel companies that just absolutely trash that product and send you out stuff that's got a pH of over 9. So always have a look. Now, Nutrod product Chock-a-Block is available, I think, just about everywhere now.
Yeah,
So
not
if you
just
can't
not in
supply,
Forbes, and I went
no,
to Wagga, and they weren't in Wagga recently. They're not. They should be in the bigger outlets, or maybe it was in
yeah,
Wagga. Yeah, definitely not in Forbes. Not the little chains. Like,
yeah.
yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, because that's a certified organic, and that's for goodness, isn't it?
And it says no green waste on the bag, just like Clyde Compost does. And I don't know about Rocky Point. I haven't had a bag of Rocky Point compost, so but I've
Okay.
used a sample pack of theirs, and it was very good.
Oh, good. Now, when we go into watering as we get cooler, so we start to water less because you don't want rot. Because I've rotted
No,
things.
no, and that's where you've got to make sure that your soil is that your growing medium is really well draining. So the water's not sitting there on the top of the actual surface. It's got to make sure that it's just running through nicely.
Yeah.
And I've got mine set up. It's all automatic, but I can control that from my phone because I've got mine set up on Wi-Fi, and it's not an expensive system. It really is just so economic and good. So I always suggest that people use that digit again. Go out, pick up that finger of yours and stick it in the soil and just see what it feels like. If you can pull your finger out and it's moist on the tip, then those plants don't need
Yeah.
additional watering. Just make sure everything is just ticking over nicely in that respect.
Yeah, beautiful. And pests during this period, you spoke about the white butterfly, so we need to net the brassicas.
Yep.
And then we've got aphids that get through that net, though, so you got to keep on top of those.
Yeah. So
Because
neem
it's
oil.
heartbreaking because it looks perfect from the outs, like from the top sometimes, but underneath can be like riddled with it. But
Yep.
if you have the Monash rock dust in it, that should fight against it.
Yeah, it's going to increase the bricks level. So
Yeah,
the BRIX is
yeah.
the actual term. And the higher the bricks level, the less you'll have with pest and disease, because pest and disease attacks things that are not feeling very well. You know, if you're off, you're feeling a little bit off, then you can get sick. You can pick up all sorts of things. But if you're eating healthily and you're exercising and doing everything else, then you're fine. You'll ward off a lot of that stuff. And the same thing applies to plants. Plants, work the same way that we do. So give them the right conditions and the best tucker, and they will fight off disease themselves. With aphids, for instance, in order to keep on top of those during the cooler months, then I always suggest you look at neem oil. Go for neem oil and do a regular spray of that. This is one of the best products that has ever been released. And if you listen, if you have a read on the bottom on the bottle, it'll tell you it's not to be used on crops, which is a load of crap. If you're worried about it, buy the same product from New Zealand.
Yeah, where it doesn't have it.
And it says it's perfectly fine to be used. It's just all to do with money, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so when can you start adding this to the mix with this?
When things cool down. So you can start to apply that in late autumn, when you haven't got really, really hot days. The whole thing with oil is that it becomes a magnifying glass. So when you spray the oil, it coats the actual leaves and coats the things you're trying to kill, and that can suffocate the plant. And when you get heat, the direct sunlight on it, that's when you can start to get the wilting. The eco neem you can use all the time, but not during the heat of the day. Spray it in the morning, spray it in the evening.
Because it still does have a component of oil in it.
Yeah, and that oil is sesame oil.
Yeah.
That is just how good that product is. It's sesame oil.
So you can mix them together in a 5-litre spray bottle, 12 mils and 27.
27's fine. Perfect. You've done well.
Is it?
Yeah, 27, 25. It's beautiful.
25. Yeah. I was trying to remember from you. That's what I've got it from.
Good.
Perfect. So that's the pests. So what are you planting in autumn? What are you up to in the patch?
I'm going to be doing all the brassicas. So during this week, Leslie and I will get out there and we'll make our paper pots, and then we'll start sowing, all the brassicas. So we'll do some 5-coloured silver beet. We'll do some cabbages, cauliflowers, Brussels sprouts.
But you've already got not Brussels sprouts, though. You said it's too late for Brussels sprouts.
Sorry, Brussels sprouts. I meant broccoli. No, Brussels
sprouts. I'm here to back you up.
In.
I've got you. Your Brussels. They're in because you have to get them in by February, and you bought seedlings because they're longer growing.
Yep.
Perfect. Sorry, I cut you off. Keep going.
That's all right. So cabbages and silver beet, kale if you like it. Breakfast radishes are an absolutely fabulous thing to have. You can get all those sorts of things. Lettuce. You can literally grow lettuce all year round. Celery can go in. These sorts of things can all start going. And if you like the coriander, this is now a good time to be thinking about sowing some seeds to get it up and going. And if you're going to be buying seeds for coriander, have a look for one that says slow bolt. It is an absolute ripper. I grew it last year for the first time, and it was just fantastic. It didn't race off and instead its ugly little heads too quickly.
That's great. And just while we're on it, heirloom seeds. So
absolutely.
we've done a video live on that just as that as a topic. So if people want to learn more about that, we can send you some information. But heirloom, yeah, not the hybrids.
Don't go for hybrids. No.
Yeah. And I haven't seen any questions come through. I did have a couple of questions from customers, but I want to go back to the moon calendar quickly. And we've also done a live on this, and people can get more information. But it's planting in cycle with the moon, with how the moon acts and how the water's drawn in and out of the vegetables. And so there's a high growth period for above ground sowing, and then two blocks, 2 days for root veggies. Yes. And then you just get a day for, like, for example, it will be the 19th of March, and then you can plant in line with the moon calendar to get its best effect, best growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to know a little bit more about the moon calendar, we had Cherie from the Moon Calendar Gardening on Muddy Boots. So it was a little while back, but you can actually go in and go back and have a listen to her. She really explains it in the most brilliant fashion. You know, she because that's what her mum and dad created the whole thing, and then they're absolutely just sensational.
That's awesome.
The whole organisation.
Oh, we just got a lovely comment. Love your work, knowledge, and sharing. Oh, well, that's what we're here for. Garden passion, the guru and the rookie. So I sent you this one about Jess's, and it relates to me a little bit as well, because she's setting up a new a new garden bed on Kaikiu lawn.
Yep.
And starting to kill off the lawn by compost and old pea straw. She was worried about, like, it's still reshooting through it. And I am getting grass coming through mine now. So the cardboard hasn't done the job. No.
But look, you have to, unfortunately, kill it with a chemical. There's no two ways about it. You've got to go backwards in order to go forwards. I have seen people who have gone and sprayed it and then covered it, and all it takes is one tiny little segment not to have been affected by the poison, and that it will regrow from that. You leave in just the tiniest little piece in there, and the hormones that react with that send that off in more vigorous form than you'll ever come across. So unfortunately, the only way to do it is to get out there and poison it.
With what? What are you recommending? What's the safest? Because is that not going to leak into the veggies?
Well, no, because as I said, you've got to go backwards to go forwards. So if it was my patch, I would start off by using Firehawk.
Yeah.
Which is a totally organic thing, but follow the instructions to the letter.
Yeah.
We had one woman ring us or contact us on Muddy Boots saying, it was no good. And when we actually told her, it's got to be shaked, it's got to be agitated. You can't do it, any other way but agitate them. Make sure that when you spray
for every use,
you're left with this white film over the top of what you sprayed. And then you need to leave that to fallow. Just leave it. Don't do anything with it. And then if you see any regrowth, go out and do it again.
When you say leave it, how long till it's all gone? Till it's all died off?
It would probably about 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. Another solution, like if you're wanting to have a patch on grass, is I'm not trying to pitch our product, but I kind of am. Get a wicking bed, because it's got a bottom, it's got a base, and nothing's getting through the bottom of it. So that's another option if you want to grow on grass.
Yep.
And then she went on to, she was putting natives and Mediterranean plants.
Yeah.
And she had some questions about designing under trees that are not established yet. So you've got to be mindful of the sun.
Yeah. I don't know where she is or anything else, but.
Oh, Jess, sorry, and I should know this. I feel like maybe Wagga. No, it's regional New South Wales. Sorry, Jess. Yeah. Sorry. I've got 800 customers in my brain, and I'm rattling through Jess. Yeah, I should know that.
Yep. All right. So
rural New South Wales, anyway.
Right. So there is probably one of the best nurseries around is actually down here in Victoria in Mount Evelyn. and that nursery is called Kuranda, Kuranda. Now, they specialise in Australian natives, and they have a wonderful form of plants. They have there will be a list that you can go onto and have a look at. And what you are looking for, or what she's looking for, is dry, shade tolerant plants.
Okay.
So plants that will grow in dry shade. And there's actually a whole heap of those on a list available for her to go through and look at. And I'm sure that, you know, they can mail order them out and all the rest. But if she has a look and picks what she wants, and then she can then Google and just see who's got those particular plants in her area, or where she can get them sent to. But yeah, so she's looking for dry shade plants that will grow in the dry shade. And it doesn't really matter whether or not there's a canopy of the trees there already. Those plants will grow and adapt to that particular environment. But that's what she needs to look at.
Beautiful. And the other one came from Steph. It's not veggie related, so it's tree related. Would love to touch base on autumn planting for trees, tree prep, and the soil prep. Any pruning during the cold temperature?
Well, it's a very, very general question, but autumn is the best time to be doing all those sorts of plantings, you know, because the soil is, as you've already said, soil's nice and moist and warm, and it's just conducive to establishing root systems. So great time to be doing it. She's going to have to know a little bit more about her soil. For instance, you know, when I'm designing gardens all over Australia at the moment. I've just finished one up in New South Wales, in southern New South Wales. I'm doing one in the middle. I'm doing one in Warren at the moment.
Yeah, there you go. Yay!
Yeah. So
the Warren event keeps on giving. I love it.
It does. Yeah. So I'm doing one in Warren at the moment, and there's going to be specifications on that plan for what's got to be done to those soils, because you can't just look at what you've got there unless you're going to be putting in totally indigenous plants. You've got to really make sure that you're doing all the right things with your soils. So that's a little bit of something that you need to do. And then another thing for consideration is plants that are going to grow in that particular environment. Now, and that gets back to what's called a heat zone and a cold zone. So, and they relate to the number of days over a certain temperature, and then number of days of cold, for instance. So where I am here in Victoria, in Melbourne, our heat zone is 4 and a cold zone is 10. Now, the job that I designed at Hopefield, which is about 5 acres, her heat zone was 7 and a cold zone was 9B. So she gets a lot more hot days over a certain temperature, but then she gets very, very cold days.
Yes.
Now, the job that I'm doing in Warren, her heat zone is 8 and her cold zone is 9B.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we're extreme out here.
Yeah. So you've got to be really very mindful of your plant selection for those particular things and what you can and what you can't grow. But get back to the soil, get the soil preparation done properly, get the compost in there, get the rock dust in there, get the mycorrhizal fungi. I bet you haven't got any of that.
No, I don't. I left my sample at the Warren event. I couldn't believe it. My whole goodie bag. I had everything else except for that.
And the other thing that is most important is that tool that is sitting behind you that I'm looking at. That prepping fork, and that was something that I was going to sort of say about Jess asking about the lawn, how to draw things down into that soil that she's got below, and that is the tool to use. So after
prepping fork by
FD Ryan.
FD Ryan. Yeah.
Yep.
And you use that tool for prepping your veggie beds as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so some people, I think Jess also said like she was going for the no-till approach, like no-dig approach. How far do you actually dig down? Like, are you doing the no-dig approach?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
There's only one bed that I don't dig, but I prep.
Yeah.
I use the prepping fork, so it goes down and then it's opening up the soil deep down.
Yeah.
But all my raised beds, I just take off the top layer, and then I add the compost into it.
Yeah.
I had in the middle of winter, I had Vince from Clyde Compost come into my garden, and he had a look at what I was growing in those beds, and he just shook his head. He couldn't believe it. He said, "This is not just all my compost, is it?" I said, "No, it's not." And my raised beds are 450 mil deep. And
Yeah.
he started in one corner, and he dug down 450 mil into my beds, and he's pulling up the soil as he's going through, and he's just shaking his head. He said, "I have never seen soil work as well as this in that depth." And that's all it is. It's just replacing what's needed all the time into those beds.
Yeah.
You know, see, what people don't understand too is a lot of people will say, "Oh, you can't grow the same plant in the same bed year in, year out." Well, I've been doing that for 10 years. I've grown tomatoes in the same bed where I grew them last year and the last 10 years. And they are all performing and growing beautifully because I'm putting in all the good things that the
Yeah.
plant's taking out.
Yeah.
And I'm populating it. I'm go-go juicing it. I'm Monash rock dusting it, composting it, and then sealing it. And this year I'm sealing it with Woolbro, which is just, I found absolutely brilliant.
And your biggest indicator is how your plants are reacting.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So if they're not looking healthy, whatnot, there's something going on with your soil, and go back and see how much of the ratio of your soil and your compost and your rock dust, and just make sure it's not too heavy in some sections. Add the populate and go-go juice, and
exactly
give it a real freshen up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about two things. Sorry, why I think of it: garlic, and also that where your tomatoes were, you should plant carrots.
Exactly.
Right. Yes. Perfect. So, and that's because tomatoes are such heavy feeders that they've used up all the goodness, and carrots don't like.
Oh no, carrots love all that goodness, but they don't look like carrots.
What
you grow them in composted soil, you get the ugliest looking thing out.
Yes, and they like more sandy. You want it to be clump free so they don't hit anything and get all its legs.
Yeah, exactly. So they need good deep soil.
Yep, and the garlic. You've got a rule around when to do the garlic. The longest day or the shortest day of the year.
Yeah, that's
March.
That's the old wives' tale. That used to be plant on the shortest day, harvest on the longest.
Right. What's your rule?
Well, it gets back to the selection of the garlic that you're going to be growing. If you want to plant some now, or in March, then I would suggest you go for early purple.
Yeah.
And depending where you are, I mean, where you are at the moment, I would, up in Forbes, or if you're in a hot environment, you need to plant the clove twice the clove's length deep into the ground. So I always say, when I plant mine, I go to the first knuckle, up to here.
Yeah.
Sorry, the main knuckle. I go up to there. But if I was going to be in a hot area, I would go right.
Yeah, okay. Mine need to go deeper, and I've got little fingers, so I need to.
You need to go down deeper. So get a dibble or something else and go down that depth and get your cloves down a bit deeper. Maybe 75 to 100 mil, depending on the heat, and get them down there. And then just make sure that they're getting a regular feed.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I'm going to be doing beetroot, carrot, snow peas. I'm going to double the amount of snow peas because we eat them out in the garden. They rarely make it inside. So I'm going to double the amount this time. I don't know about brassicas. They take a lot of bed real estate, and I can fit 50 beetroot in there rather than 6 broccoli. I don't know. I'll probably doing it.
So what I would then think for you, I would be looking at things like 5-coloured silver beet.
Yeah.
And you don't like it.
I don't know.
Well, let me just say this. I've got this lovely lady over the back. She's Chinese. Her name's Jean.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "Are you going to grow some silver beet?" She said, "Oh no, I can't stand it." And I said, "I bet you can't stand it because you bought the stuff in the supermarket."
Yeah, okay, all right. My mum grows it. I've never tried it because I'm like,
okay,
just knew I didn't like it. So maybe mum's got the secret the whole time.
So the best stuff you can grow is the rainbow coloured silver beet or rainbow
Yeah.
coloured chard,
Yeah.
because it doesn't have that horrible irony sort of flavour.
Yeah.
It's a really
Okay.
nice. So when I gave her a leaf of the 5 coloured silver beet, she was into that like you wouldn't believe. So she just loves it, you know. So
And Asian greens as well.
yes.
They're good. Are they? Can you be doing them yet, or do you wait a bit for the
No,
Asian
I
greens?
would be waiting probably a little bit longer. I'd be doing those maybe April. I'd be putting those sorts of things in because
Yeah, gosh, they look
that,
stunning when they grow. Gosh, they're
oh yeah.
beautiful. Oh, the only thing is that I found I got slugs though when loving those. I couldn't get on. I tried the beer trap, but someone did say don't use low carb beer because they like the full strength.
It's got to be full. We're going to be full strength
And
here.
I was like, so they didn't like my low carb. I wasted a whole beer on them.
Yeah.
And the silver tape worked a little bit, but not 100%. You know how you can
No,
wrap the silver tape around the bed.
no,
And
it's
the
not silver.
eggshells, yeah, eggshells definitely didn't work. You need
It's not silver. It's copper.
copper
Yeah,
tape.
copper
Sorry, yeah.
tape. Yeah, look, that sort of works, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I use a snail bait, but I
What do you? Sorry, truck. What did you
use
say?
a snail bait, but
Oh, yeah.
there is one that uses medicinal grade iron.
Okay.
So it is harmless to
What's it
frogs,
called?
all sorts. Goodness,
Put
it's
it in
gone
the
out of my mind. But
put it in the comments when I post it.
okay,
Perfect. I think that's like a lot. I'm going to get off here and go. Hardening off. So
yep.
if you're growing your seeds and growing seedlings like in a protected area, like don't just put them straight out because you're going to fry them. Like, what's your rule around hardening off? A few hours a day in the morning.
Yeah, in the
How do you go
morning and the
about hardening?
afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've got somewhere that is getting, say, all the morning sun and then nothing in the afternoon, that's a great way of hardening things off. Just hang on a second.
Yeah.
All right, so there is an organic one called Protectus, and it's a snail and slug killer.
Okay.
And look, if you just get online and Google organic snail bait, it'll come up.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
you can order it online.
Mulch. You're still mulching? Keep the warmth in the soil. Or do you change your mulching methods?
No, at the moment I've got four beds that are under wool grow.
Yeah.
Mulch, the wool grow fabric, and that is just absolutely brilliant because it allows the air and the water to go through, but doesn't allow the weeds to come up. And I reckon I'm going to get probably two years out of those wool mats, so they're absolutely fantastic. And when you compare that to say, a couple of bales of who flung dung, it's paid for itself.
Yeah.
It also provides nitrogen, so it's putting goodness back into the soil anyway. But the beds that don't have that on, I will definitely use who flung dung on top of those.
Yeah.
Just to seal them all off, and I like to let them rest for a little bit. Let the microbes come back to life.
Yes, let it rest. And I was going to say that when you replenish beds, do you let them rest?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
And particularly the beds that are heavy feeding beds, such as where I'm pulling tomatoes out, I will give that probably 3 to 4 weeks of just rest. All the goodness goes in there. So the Monash rock dust, the go-go juice. I'll even use Populate just to make sure that I'm putting things in there that are going to kill any nasties that might be in there. And then lots of compost, and then seal it over, and then just leave it. And you'll be surprised when you put that in. You look at the soil and there's not a lot of life in it because the tomatoes have destroyed all that.
All up, yeah.
4 weeks later, you pull it back and you wouldn't believe the amount of life that's in that soil. Little tiny worms and all that sort of stuff that are just coming to life. It's just fabulous. And that's another great thing to be doing too, is that in between when you set your beds up, if you've got worm juice or wormweed, put that over it because there's going to be eggs in that worm water.
Yeah,
that
right.
will help to compost that compost worms in those soils.
Yeah, there you go. I got two questions, and I think I've already lost one in my brain. So mulch, I found the hoof-lung dung dried out really quickly in summer, so I ended up using pea mulch as well.
Yep. Then that's fine.
Yeah.
They'll all dry out if they're not getting regular top up of water.
Yeah.
They'll all dry out. And the worst thing you do is let them dry out, and then the wind gets them and blows it all away. So your money's going somewhere else.
Yes.
So always make sure that you give them a bit of a water in the morning, even while they're resting, because it's going to help to just keep that flora and fauna going and along nicely within the beds.
Okay, perfect. Someone just said, thanks for sharing your insights. We're going to get some slow bulk coriander now. Very
good.
I think the only other thing was protecting crops from frost. Do you cover any of your?
We don't have that problem.
Yeah. What would you do in? We definitely do in New South Wales and Canberra.
There's lots of products that are available now for frost protected. There's a frost guard, for instance, that you can put on them. But the other thing you can do is use a seaweed solution.
Yeah.
And that will help protect those against frost as well.
Yeah.
So use a seaweed solution.
Yeah.
And that will help build up the those plants' ability to cope with a bit of frost.
Yes.
But yeah, there's lots of covers you can put over it.
And that seaweed solution is also good for summer as well, isn't it? It's just protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have another question. So, people that have established beds, people have just received them, but some people are getting orders still in a couple of months' time. Do they still treat everything we just said the same, but, in 2 months' time or during winter? Like, you can still do all the same things starting then? Like, when's it too late to do autumn, winter veggies?
Well, nothing's ever too late. I mean, you can still get some certain crops, even if it's going to be lettuce, even if it's going to be Chinese greens, these sorts of things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There will be something that you can actually grow in those beds, no matter when you set them up. And that brings me to another thing. I had someone who received one of your beds, and he contacted me and he said, "Do I need to sort of cover the inside so that there's not things leaching out of it?" And I sent him back a little thing saying the only thing that's going to leach out of those particular beds is going to be zinc, and zinc is a natural element. It's not going to hurt. There's nothing coming out of those galvanised beds that are going to be detrimental to you, your plants, or anything else.
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's why we used unpainted corrugated iron. So it tends to be farm sheds because they don't paint those. That's what we use. And if we ever are concerned, we do coat the inside with cromellum, which is a food and water grade. If we're concerned about it, but otherwise, it's.
There's nothing to hurt anything in those in coming out of those galvanised iron products.
Thank you. You heard it from Keith Edwards. Go on. Okay, I'm going to get off here, and I'm like, next question. But that's a huge topic, and yes, we'll meet again next month and have follow-up questions and all these things. But thanks everyone for joining on, and thank you, Keith. I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you too, Joe.
I
can give you a kiss if I could reach you.
We just adore you, and you've changed my life, and you're changing so many other people, and having the confidence to get into the patch and not giving up after a bad season. Let's go again.
Exactly. And if you've got a problem, ask, and we'll solve it.
Yes. Yep, exactly. A problem is a learning opportunity. That's how I see it. So I've got lots of learning opportunities in my life, in and outside of the patch. Thank you so much. I'll put this on replay. And big love to you and Leslie. And thanks everyone for joining on.
See you later. Bye.